Welcome back to We Marry the Family podcast series, where I explore the realities of life with in-laws. I'm Dr. Nadia, a counselling psychologist and founder of We Marry the Family, an international support group and coaching program for daughters-in-law. Today's episode is a confession episode. In these segments, you send in your confessions, and I explore them from a cultural and psychological lens. Today's confession of a daughter-in-law reads, I do laundry in the middle of the night, so I can avoid my in-laws. For some people, this might sound extreme, but it's a real-life example of someone finding an unconventional solution to prevent discomfort or conflict. Moving in with in-laws for some women can feel like a minefield of expectations, putting them on edge, making them anxious, causing them to avoid people and situations so they don't set anyone off. For this daughter-in-law, it's led her to tiptoe around in the middle of the night, sneaking downstairs to do her laundry. It's something so basic, most people would never think twice about. But washing your underwear and lingerie whilst your father-in-law is sat in the next room is as awkward as it sounds. Someone once shared with me that she initially did her washing in the daytime, but one day she took the clothes out of the wash, she took them upstairs into her room, put them to dry. She sat there for a little while, and when she came back downstairs, to her absolute embarrassment, she saw she'd accidentally dropped a pair of underwear on the kitchen floor. You can see why midnight laundry might sound appealing. But it is draining and quite anxiety-provoking because you're now in a state of hypervigilance. This is when your nervous system is on alert for changes in the environment and in people. In this case, not only are you thinking about the timing beforehand, but you're also aware of who's awake and who's not. You're aware of people's routines, so you can find the best time to make your move. You hide your laundry in your room days before till you have enough to wash, so you can be most efficient with your time. You're on alert for the cycle to end before anyone notices. You're keeping yourself awake, trying not to fall asleep before the cycle's done so that little jingle doesn't wake anyone up. You're sacrificing your sleep. And then you need to think about laying it all over your room to dry because you're not going to be hanging it up anywhere or putting it in the dryer at that time. On the surface, it might look like a practical decision. There's no one around, washing machine's free, but there's so much more underneath. It's not just about the laundry, it's about avoiding the in-laws altogether. The term avoidance coping is used to describe the way some people cope with anxiety-provoking and uncomfortable situations and interactions. When people use avoidance as a way of coping, they are staying away from the source of their discomfort. Avoidance can be a response to fear of judgment or to perceived power imbalances. The daughter-in-law might feel judged, like she's under scrutiny, or feel watched, whether that's real or imagined. It can cause anxiety and subsequently avoidance behaviors, leading her to create a hidden routine without facing the emotional challenges of interactions with her in-laws. So there's less anxiety for her to deal with. It's like if someone has a fear of driving, they would avoid it. But if they needed to go somewhere, they might choose to drive in the night when there's less cars around and less chance of an accident with another car or a person. So if this whole occurrence is happening at night, I'd also be curious about how this daughter-in-law navigates her day-to-day life and interactions with her in-laws. I'd wonder what her relationships are like with them. I'd wonder if there are other things that she's doing in the daytime to avoid them. I'd also be thinking about how she is dealing with her own anxiety during the day. How is she managing emotionally? Is she getting support, and where is that coming from? Another thing that could be happening here is something that researchers call boundary ambiguity. This is where family boundaries are unclear. People are unsure of who's responsible for what. According to research, this is one of the most difficult parts of in-law relations. In this case, the daughter-in-law might be unclear about her boundaries and the family boundaries. Does she have the same freedom to be in this environment as she would in her own home? Can she put her own wash on but not put anyone else's on, or will she be criticised for that? This boundary ambiguity causes people to overstep personal boundaries, creating upset, frustration, tension, even through well-intentioned actions. Like if her daughter-in-law puts on a wash in the daytime and her mother-in-law takes it out before she can get to it, thinking that she's helping her out and lightening her load when actually she's overstepped her daughter-in-law's boundary. Incidents like this can lead to women becoming confused and falling out, and cause people to change their behaviours. The ambiguity creates tension, pushing the daughter-in-law to find ways of regaining a sense of control and autonomy and privacy by taking care of her own needs during off hours. In the long run, avoiding discomfort can lead to bigger issues. People might misinterpret the avoidance as the daughter-in-law feeling resentful of or disliking her in-laws. It might create a greater sense of separation between her and others in the house. Sometimes these avoidance behaviors are not just about avoiding discomfort, but about avoiding conflict too. Conflict avoidance might seem like a good idea initially, because it provides a temporary relief, but over time, the tensions become amplified and the anxiety just gets worse. I would encourage the daughter-in-law to think about what you could do to promote your own autonomy and personal space during the daytime. If you're avoiding certain people, is there something unresolved that's leading to this avoidance? And could it be communicated? Does there need to be clearer communication? I'd also encourage the family and the partner to think about how you can create more open relations with your daughter-in-law and with your partner so she doesn't feel the need to avoid people. Is there something that could be done to improve the respect between family members? But maybe for the daughter-in-law, this might not even be seen as an issue that needs a different resolution. Maybe this is what feels like the best resolution. Maybe it's a compromise that she's accepted, that she has to make whilst living there because any alternative might not work. And that's her choice too, is completely understandable. But it shows one of the many silent struggles in the experiences of a daughter-in-law living with in-laws. If you've benefited from today's episode, do like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you've been affected by anything discussed in today's episode, you can join my daughter-in-law's membership. The link is in the description, or book in for one-to-one therapy with myself or another therapist.